In the sweltering heat of a Pacific Island afternoon, Lina pushed Kalu off of her with a snarl. His half-hard DY slipped from her well-used con, leaving her feeling empty and unfulfilled yet again. She glared up at her husband as he staggered back, his eyes glazed with alcohol and lust. "Forking hell, Kalu," she spat, grabbing a rag to clean the sweat and dirt from her thighs. "You call that forking? Been drinking too much to get it up proper like." Kalu snarled something inarticulate and stumbled towards her, but Lina danced out of reach with a tinkling laugh. "Maybe if you used your tongue more and that limp thing between your legs less, I wouldn't be going off looking for better DY elsewhere." She grabbed a handful of his hair and yanked his head back. "Speaking of which, some hotshot diver just arrived from the capital, came to look at our coral bleaching and all. Said his name's Tico. Guess I'll go see if he needs some local expertise with that thick saucies of his." With a wicked grin, Lina released Kalu and sauntered towards the door, putting an extra sway in her hips as she went. "Don't wait up," she called over her shoulder. Kalu hurled an empty bottle at her head, but Lina ducked and laughed as she fled, her con already throbbing with anticipation. If you're new here, buckle the F up. Hit that like button, subscribe, and crank those notifications because this story is about to get primal, raw, and deliciously twisted. Now, let me tell you how it all started. Lina stared at the diver from across the cove, her heart fluttering in her chest. He moved through the water like a fish, sleek and powerful, his dark skin glistening under the sun. She watched as he swam up to the boat and hauled himself on board, rivulets of water streaming down his muscular frame. She'd seen him around the island for the past few weeks. A stranger, a diver, here to study the coral bleaching that was threatening their reefs. She'd heard whispers that he was from the capital province, that he'd gone to university, that he was here to make sure their little island wasn't ruined by climate change. Lina's husband, Kalu, couldn't care less about the environment. He spent his days drinking with his cousins, hardly ever even going out to fish anymore. But for Lina, the ocean was her lifeblood. She dove for shellfish and crabs, she fished with lines and nets, she swam in the clear waters every day. The sea was everything to her. So when she saw the diver set up his equipment on the shore, she couldn't help but approach him. "Day," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm Lina." The diver turned to look at her, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he smiled. "Day," he replied. "I'm Tico. Nice to meet you." Lina blushed under his gaze, suddenly feeling shy. She glanced away, then back at him. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Tico gestured at his equipment. "I'm studying the coral bleaching," he said. "I want to see how bad it is and what we can do to stop it." Lina nodded, her eyes widening. "I've noticed it getting worse lately," she said. "The fish aren't coming as close to shore anymore." Tico's expression grew serious. "It's a problem," he said. "But I'm hoping to figure out a way to save it." Lina bit her lip, then took a deep breath. "Can I help?" she asked. "I know these waters better than anyone else." Tico studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Sure," he said. "I'd appreciate that." And so began their partnership. Every day, they dove together, Tico collecting samples and measuring the coral while Lina pointed out areas of concern. They talked for hours, about the ocean, about the island, about their lives. Lina found herself opening up to Tico in ways she never had with anyone else. She told him about Kalu, about how he'd changed over the years. How he'd become more interested in drinking than in her or their marriage. Tico listened, his face a mask of sympathy and understanding. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "No one should have to feel neglected like that." Lina swallowed hard, her eyes stinging with unshed tears. "I just wish he still cared," she whispered. Tico reached out and took her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "He doesn't deserve you," he said firmly. And just like that, something shifted between them. The air grew charged with tension, their eyes locked on each other's faces. Slowly, hesitantly, Tico leaned in and pressed his lips to hers. Lina melted into the kiss, her hands coming up to tangle in Tico's hair. He tasted of salt water and passion, and she found herself craving more. Tupela kai mouse until they were both breathless, until Lina could feel the heat building between Tupela thighs blem. But just as Tico's hand began to slide up her thigh, Lina pulled away, panting. "We can't," she gasped. "Not here." Tico nodded, his eyes dark with desire. "Your place?" he asked hoarsely. Lina bit her lip, then nodded. "But we have to be quiet," she said. "Kalu will be home soon." They hurried back to Lina's house, barely able to keep their hands off each other as they went. As soon as they were inside, Tico pushed Lina up against the wall fiercely as he yanked up her t-shirt. "Kone, you're so beautiful," he growled, his hands cupping her susus. "I've wanted you since the moment I saw you." Lina whimpered as Tico's fingers found her peens, Pulimna rolling them until she was squirming against him. "Please," she begged. "I need you." Tico grinned wolfishly, then spinimum na bend downimum lokachin table. Impulim down short pla traces blomeria, and Lina gasped as cool air hit her overheated skin. "Such a pretty little con," Tico murmured, running his fingers through all leaps blowcon blem. "So wara wara for me already." Lina pushed her hips back against him, desperate for more. "Yes," she whispered. "Quapim me, please." Tico didn't need to be told twice. He freed his trapler dy from his shorts and notched it at her con hool, teasing Miriam with shallow thrusts. "Beg for it," he demanded, im smakkim asblem heart ones leaving a red handprint lonskin blem. "Please," Lina cried, arching her back. "Please quapim me one time bikpla, heartpla dy blow you. I need it so bad." With a groan, Tico smashim kanhulya go in sight. One hit stirret, emplanim lompla, nafartpla dy blem goinsight lo con blomeria steret. Lina screamed, her fingers scrabbling for purchase on the table as Tico began lon palmimem heart ones. "Con yes," he growled, his hips snapping forward with brutal force. "Take it, you dirtipla meriblo quop. This is what you needed, isn't it? You so like loquop osumya you talk." Lina could only groan in response, lost in the pleasure of Tico's thick dy splitting her con open. She has never been quop like this before, never been talked to like this. It was dirty and wrong and she loved every second of it. Just as she felt her cup sight building, the sound of Kalu's voice drifted in from outside. "Lina," he called. "I'm home." Lina froze, her eyes wide with panic. "Shit," she whispered. "Shit shit shit." Tico cursed under his breath, but didn't stop moving. "Keep quiet," he hissed. He didn't stop, continue lonquapimum heart ones. "And don't you dare cup sight without my permission." Lina bit down on her lip hard enough to taste blood, trying desperately to keep her moans of pleasure quiet as Kalu stumbled inside. "Hey babe," he slurred, not even looking at them as he headed for the fridge. Lina squeezed her eyes shut, trying to focus on anything but the feeling of Tico's dy sliding in and out of her dripping con. But it was no use. The combination of fear and arousal was too much and she felt her body tensing, ready to explode. "Please," she mouthed silently to Tico, begging him with her eyes. Tico must have understood, because he reached around and rubbed her canpeen hard and fast, making Lina bite back a scream as her cup sight crashed over her like a tidal wave. At the same moment, Kalu turned around, his eyes widening as he took in the sight of Lina bent over the table, Tico buried deep in her con. "What the fork?" Kalu roared, stumbling toward them. But Tico didn't stop quapping Lina, even as Kalu tried to pull him off her. With his strong arms he just grabbed Kalu by the throat and shoved him away, slamming into Lina with renewed vigor. "Fork you," he snarled at Kalu. "Lina deserves to be forked by a real man." Kalu sputtered and cursed, but Tico ignored him, focusing all his attention on Lina's quivering con. He continued to quap her hard and fast, impamim gutwan stirret until finally he slammed ego insight one last time and pulmapimum with his hot kokwara. "Lina milkim ol geta leak harp kokwara blomanya." Then she collapsed forward onto the table, spent and shaking. Tico pulled out and tucked himself back into his shorts, turning to face Kalu with a smirk. "Bayu mikim wanam." "Let's go," he said to Lina, holding out his hand. "We're done here." Lina looked at Kalu, seeing the betrayal and anger in his eyes. She knew there would be hell to pay later, but right now she didn't care. Right now, all she wanted was Tico. She took his hand and let him lead her out of the house and down to the shore, where his boat was waiting. As they sailed off into the sunset, Lina knew her life would never be the same again.